It's the post-match phone-in. Good to have you all along with us. Tonight we're gonna be discussing Luton Town 1, QPR 2. And look, I hope everyone's calmed down a bit. It's been last night on social media was a pretty bad one. Right, well, tonight I'm actually here by myself. My usual co-host, Mark Ryman, has a previous engagement. He would have loved to have come on and ranted to his heart's content, but there'll be no ranting here tonight. Unless people want to get in touch and rant, by all means, if you want to rant, the floor is yours. You can speak your mind. This is a safe space. Before we actually get into the calls, just a quick reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube in the morning, please like this video and subscribe to the OK Football Show YouTube channel. It's the fastest growing Luton Town channel on YouTube at the moment. It's pretty incredible, the growth that we've had. I'm glad that you absolutely love the Luton Town content and the championship content that we've been putting out. There's a lot more. Just to plug a Luton's Lady Lowdown show that we dropped today. If you want to hear a bit more about what the Luton ladies are up to, please check out that show, because it's a good one, and the ladies are gunning for promotion this season, and we're all behind them at the OK Football Show. We're even sponsoring 2 players, and they need your support. They really do. It's like last season when they reached the FA Cup, it was and played Brighton, a Super League team. They really appreciated all that support from the Luton Town fans. Quick shout out to our audio partners, Black Star Amplification and Carry On, for keeping us sounding absolutely top notch. And also a big thanks to our pod sponsors, the Record Shop in Amersham. I actually popped in there today, and guess what? If you mention that you were sent there by the OK Football Show, you'll get a discount. Just keep that in mind. Why not check it out? They have vinyl, CDs, they have musical instruments. It's fantastic. It's a top place. Go check them out. Right, let's see. Who have we got? First of all, speakers. Right, we got hashtag in Tom Block Here We Trust. Simon, how are you getting on this evening, Simon? Yeah, calm down after the shenanigans of yesterday, right?
Well, yeah, obviously it's easy to get caught up in the immediate aftermath of something that's gone on. But at the end of the day...
What do you mean? What do you mean? Of course not.
You know what I mean. You know full well what I mean, man. But it's, reflecting, I still think that we're going to be all right. I still think that Nakamba and Krauser do the job in breaking up the play that's undoing us at the minute. It's just been, I think for most people, the reason it's happened is it's been since April since we tasted a win.
Yeah.
I think although,
the majority of those games were in the Premier League, obviously. But to be honest, you would have expected a bit more of a bounce back, a bit more fight, right, in the Championship.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was just putting the dog in the other room. He's hassling me for my fish. But honestly, it's just tough at the minute, isn't it? The whole of 2024 has been a difficult year. It seems to have been a difficult year for the fans, the players, the manager, the club itself adjusting to what is now our reality. No one, I'm pretty sure no one expects us to go below 50, 60 million. I haven't seen anyone say anything like that, But I do think that people expected us to at least spend what we made in sales. I don't think that's too much to sort of ask.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. Look, you make a very good point there. Look, we received up to £8 million reportedly for Chidozie Ogbene, Ryan Giles and Ross Barkley for 9 million combined. We've spent reportedly not even a record fee on Mark McGuinness. So it does leave quite a surplus, and that is alarming. And as shown from our squad depth, and I don't want to say our performances because we do have players, but at the same time, when you lose someone like Ross Barkley, you sort of, I mentioned this earlier, you need to replace him with the sum of parts. And in that way, it's sort of Moneyball. You know, in the movie Moneyball, they're like, we're not trying to replace Giambi, we're trying to recreate him in the aggregate. So you lose Ross Barkley, you lose that creativity in the middle of the park. What do? You recreate him in the aggregate. So, you know, Jed Wallace would have been an ideal player, and he's 30. We could have picked him up for a relatively low fee of reportedly 2 million. And he was one that we were linked to for quite a bit on transfer deadline day. And, you have Marv Nakamba and Kraus to sort of rebuild the defensive abilities of Ross Barkley in the aggregate again. Sorry to keep repeating that. And, that is an opportunity that we missed out on, really, leaving us, well, I don't want to say light in midfield, but not as exciting in midfield. But it's not really midfield where the problems are, because we're creating chances. We're just not taking them at the moment. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
I have no doubt that goals are going to come. It's just a matter of time, because we are creating the chances. We're getting corners. We're getting in there. We just need to be a little bit more varied in our approach, be a little bit more unpredictable. The goals will come. I don't doubt it. I think that we will still be up there. I think things will click. I don't think anyone, and this guy's distracted me. James, if you've actually got something to say, mate, please press request. I'm sure we'd all love to hear what you got to say. But anyway, I do think that it's going to come good. Dan's here. I'm sure he's going to come in a minute and make a few good points about what he thinks is going on. Despite our dispute on the last show, I do like Dan. I think he's got good views. And we all want what's best for the club at the end of the day, and opinions differ. And that's fine.
It really is indeed. And because we run like a tight phone-in show. It's only half an hour. Stick around, Si, and let's hear what Dan has to say. And as you mentioned, it was a great debate last week. Like, Dan, good evening, mate. What was your take from yesterday and the window?
So firstly, the window. I personally didn't think we would spend as much as we brought in. I did, to be honest, I thought we would lose more players. Going into the summer, I thought we would lose Barkley. I thought we'd lose Osho. I thought we'd lose Mengi. I thought we'd lose Doughty, and I thought we'd lose Adebayo. So I'm guessing there does have to be some credit from the board and the club for keeping Doughty, Mengi and Adebayo. I was okay with selling Ogbene for 8 million. I personally think we could have got a little bit more, but the biggest thing, if 8 million's an okay fee, but you have to bring someone in to replace him. And I know we sort of have with Walters, and Walters isn't a problem. He's been our best signing so far. But before even selling Ogbene, we needed an attacking player, whether it was a 10 or a winger. And in theory, we needed two, and to not get one is the only real disappointment I've got with this window.
So 2 points there that you made. So if I were to tell you, by the way, I agree about Ruel Walters. I think he's fantastic, but I do think we needed another forward. I agree, to sort of replace Ogbene being able to fill in up there. Cause in my mind, we discussed it. We debated it last week. He's not a right wing back. He just isn't. But to address your first point, if I told you that Ogbene was going to be out of contract this summer, would that change your mind about the fee that we got for him?
Was he out
He
of
was,
contract?
yeah. So I've been told by quite a reliable source that Ogbene was signed on a 2-year deal with an extra year just if we were to avoid relegation. So that 3rd year was not triggered because we were relegated. So does that change your mind about the fee that we received for him? Because I think it's very good business in that context.
Yeah, it does. It does, but it still doesn't change the fact we didn't
Yeah.
replace him. So, yeah, like I said, I don't mind Benny. I liked him. I thought he could play a number of positions, which is another reason why I think we're missing him. Whether you think he's good enough at wing back either side, he could fill in that position, and he could move forward as well. But yeah, like I said, I think we needed to bring at least one more in. Going on to the game, I thought it changed on 2 incidents. The first one was Adebayo. If Adebayo puts us 2 up, we probably win it 3 or 4 because QPR would have to come and attack us. Unfortunately, he didn't, which is what I said I think after the Preston game. We're not taking our chances. And then McGuinness, what was he, 6'3", 6'4"? You've got to win the header. You can't let that bounce. Even if it goes out for a throw on, it hits your back of your head and it goes out for a corner. You're taught when you're like 5 or 6, you don't let the ball bounce in a situation
Well, I
like
don't
that.
think so anymore. I don't think you're allowed to head the ball when you're 5 or 6.
Yeah, that is true to be honest. But even then, why didn't he bring him down outside the box?
I
Maybe he was
know.
covering. Worse, it would have been a yellow card.
I know. It's sort of similar to the Wolves goal last year, Pedro Neto at Kenilworth Road, where Lockyer should have brought him down outside the box. Like sometimes, you got to make split-second decisions, and maybe McGuinness didn't want to bring him down. He didn't want to give the free kick. Maybe he backs himself to win the ball. But it's not so much about that. You said those are the 2 instances that turned it. Why, in your opinion, when we conceded that goal, because that goal was avoidable, as you mentioned, there's a ball over the top, why did we go on and concede another goal 3 minutes later?
That I think is to do with
that mentality.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's anything like Rob Edwards could change really. I know. I've mentioned before. Sometimes he's not proactive enough. But was it 2-3 minutes between the goals? Like even if he was going to make a change, it's probably after that anyway.
He should have made a change immediately after that second goal went in. Like look to the bench, reshuffle, be completely
the second
reactive.
goal, but but in between goals, it's such a short space of time. I just think we're so used to conceding that we probably panicked. I don't know why. And then we obviously got done at the back stick. I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing a couple of the centre halves were drawn to the ball and probably Chong didn't track back either. I'm guessing. I'll have to look at it.
Well, there was no one on Frey. If you look at the
but I think Doughty was tucked in on one other player, so it's either they've tucked in across too much or Chong hasn't tracked back enough.
Could that be resolved by playing 2 holding midfielders in a double pivot? If we were to pivot to a 3,
I'm not sure. I know we've mentioned before about being too easy to play through, but being too easy to put that goal wasn't caused by that. It was caused because a ball into the box and they didn't pick up the man. But I know you mentioned going to 3-5-2, and I just think our squad is built for that formation.
Well, there are so many midfielders now in the middle.
Loads of centre mids, and we've got loads of strikers. Whether we've got Adebayo, Morris, Jacob Brown has been a huge miss, and Woodrow and Taylor. You bring on Taylor at left wing. He's a striker.
That didn't make any
Um,
sense to me. Going 4-3-3, Taylor on the
no,
left wing didn't make sense.
yeah. I personally don't quite get the level of needing to play Taylor, but what I will say is give him a chance. Like at least play him in his correct position if you're going to give him minutes.
Very good points, Dan. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it, mate.
No worries, guys.
Right. Next up, we got first time caller Tony Reed. How are you getting on, mate? And then we'll go to Ben Barry afterwards. Okay.
First time caller, long time listener. I think is the phrase.
Happy to have you here, mate.
Right. So let's start. Where to start? So let's start. I think the problem is losing is a habit, right? So the moment QPR scored yesterday, that was it. Mentality. Losing is a habit. We've had a whole season in the Premier League of losing, basically. And that has an effect on players, that has an effect on the team, mentally, strategically, and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's a very, very difficult thing to overcome when, even though we went down kind of the little old Luton kind of you tried hard, it's still a mental thing to overcome. And you can see that. The moment QPR scored, you could see exactly what was going to happen. We weren't going to find a way back into the game. Rob Edwards was going to make his changes way too late, So I think that's an issue that we need to overcome. You can see that in Morris. You can see that in Adebayo. They're trying too hard. They're kind of, when a striker's on form, it all comes naturally, right?
It does, yeah. Well, strikers, they're creatures of confidence, aren't they?
Absolutely. You look at Morris at Pompey, Adebayo last night. Although having said that, I actually think the goalkeeper I was right behind the cross played to Adebayo last night, and the keeper was off. The keeper was quite quick. I'm not saying Adebayo should have maybe, quote, done better, but when you see it from the angle I saw it, the keeper actually was quite quick to it and shut it down quite quickly. But anyway, strikers are about confidence and they need goals, and we don't have that.
So what did you make of so you were right behind it. So you were in. So
I was in. I'm in the main stand.
You're in the main stand. Okay.
So as that I was right behind that ball as the kind of cross went into Adebayo, but the keeper was already off his line the moment the cross was made because he could see where it was going. So he kind of, credit to the keeper, he did kind of shut Adebayo down quite quickly. It was. Adebayo never quite got the chance to get the ball out from under his feet, did he, really? It's not like Morris at Pompey, who really had time to kind of dink it or do whatever. But anyway, strikers are about confidence. Strikers are about scoring goals. Yeah?
Yeah, so you must be like block A, block B. What did you make of the atmosphere last night at the final whistle then?
It's frustration, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was a bit of a mix, wasn't it?
It's frustration. I think ultimately it's frustration. I think we were told that if we were to go down, we would have a team ready for the championship. But we don't, really. We've had issues with the squad for a while now in kind of various positions that haven't really been addressed. We've had 2 very poor transfer windows. And it's weird because 2020 have been, since they've owned the club, have been on the ball. Business early, get it done, get it sorted, right, get him in. Whereas the last 2 windows, it all seems a bit disjointed, panicky, not quite this, not quite that. We made a bid for Ben Sheaf in June.
Yeah, it wasn't much though, was it?
Yeah, but the point is,
we made a bid for Gustavo Hamer last season as well.
Well, so what our problem is we're too stubborn, right? We don't allow for any period of negotiation. It's either our price or we walk away. Yeah.
I think there's a fair bit of negotiation.
I'm not.
But we're very tough negotiators.
Yeah, I still think we're I still think we tried to moneyball it. I still think we tried to, quote, do it on the cheap.
Mm.
And I think having us come down with all the money that we have, teams are going to try and nail you, that's the rule of the game, right?
Well, teams do know that we have money.
Exactly.
And
So
we do, but how much of that is actually available to be used
I
for
know, look,
transfers?
I get that.
We don't
I
know.
understand that. But if we were told that we were going to make a push, so if we were going to make a push, we should have made a few statement signings of whether that be Ben Sheaf-esque or whatever. But players that we needed to replace, like Barkley, which Ben Sheaf would have been one of your analogies as in the round,
Yeah,
kind of
well,
a replacement for.
recreating him in the aggregate.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Hmm.
the perfect championship midfielder. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just. But we didn't do. There was no kind of statement. There's no kind of. Oh, Luton are really pushing for this. It's kind of, well, we let Ogbene go. Great business. I think, to be honest, I think with regard to your conversation about the valuation of players, it is what it is, right? What they're willing to pay, how long's left on his contract. We have a value, they have a value. He wants to go, and whatever the price is, you kind of come to an agreement, and away you go. I think that's always been quite fluid, and I think £8 million for Ogbene is great business, considering we paid obviously nothing for him, but considering the holes we have up front, he was never to not kind of replace him. And you end up getting a guy from Sweden that you can't play till January. And it's all a bit mishmash. It's all a bit scattergun. There doesn't seem to be a thinking behind it, like a structure behind it. Now, in defence of 2020, a lot of our players had great seasons in the Premier League. And I suspect a lot of them had their heads turned, the Mengies, the Doughties, etc., because they did have great seasons. And whether any bids were ever actually received for them, we won't know. But I do think, I don't know, it's weird. Something's going, I can't quite put my finger on it, but something's going on. It's weird. It's
Do you think that now that the window's shut, that there'll be sort of a heads down approach where the players will be working for their next move potentially?
I hope so. Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope so. I hope the window's closed. Right. If you want a big move, and we've always been a club that said, if you want a big move, you go out and prove that you want a big move, demonstrate you want a big move. Yeah. If we can get £10 million for you and you can go off to West Ham or whatever, then fine, you go with our blessing. So hopefully now we've got 2 weeks to kind of reset everything and kind of go forward. I do think the system does need to be looked at. You've also, we're so midfield heavy. We've got
to utilise all those midfielders. You're completely right.
There almost needs to be like a back to basics in terms of, we seem to be putting square pegs in round holes at times. It all seems a bit mishmash. It all seems a bit near, and it's all very well. Like for what? For 55 minutes last night, we were on top. We were in control. Okay, should have had a few more goals. Should have had the second, of course. But the moment they scored, the mentality, right? We've had a season of losing, whether we like it or not. And losing is a habit just as much as winning is. And we need to kind of get out the funk pretty quickly. But I do think we've been promised something that was never really on the cards anyway. Like, remember, we were second favourites to win the league at kickoff.
Oh yeah, but ignore all that. Like, to be honest, everyone internally, all the fans, we sort of knew it was going to be a tough season. But ignore the pundits that were saying, Luton are going to walk.
I kind of agree with you. Yeah, obviously second, but you'd still expect a playoff push.
There is still a lot of football
I get it,
played, and the players are going to have a rocket up them. Even Rob Edwards is going to have a rocket up.
I hope so, because I think it's weird. Like QPR got their second goal, and you expect Joe Taylor to come on the last 7 minutes or whatever it was to kind of go on, Joe, go get us out the shit. You know, then
He came close at the end, though.
He did. But you know what I mean? It's yeah.
I
You're
do.
2-1. You're 2-1 down at home, right? Strikers, get warming up. I need you on the pitch in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? It all seems a bit. It's a bit. Anyway,
look, Tony. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to get Ben Barry on. Stay in, enjoy the show, and let's get Ben in. Ben.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Evening,
Hey,
Ben.
good evening.
How are you doing, mate? What did you make of the game and the window in general?
The window kept hold of a lot of key players, which I think can't be understated. I think they'll certainly come into effect as the season goes on, and I think now the window is shut, players will definitely, as we say, screw their heads on and get to work.
100%
The issues I see at the
agree.
moment, it is, as Tony alluded to, I think there does need to be a system change.
What
a
do
lot
you
of
think
long
that
balls.
system's going to be? Oh, you want to see more long balls?
No, I want to see, currently there's a lot of long balls.
Oh, okay.
I think, we talked earlier, Dan was saying about the second goal. You asked the question, why did it happen? Baptiste is stuck on the ball in the middle of midfield and there's nothing to do. Admittedly, there's not a lot on for him. But at the end of it, he gets caught on the ball. They make a quick few passes and they created a goal out of it. It's not that complex. That's all that happened. I don't think there was some huge mentality change after one goal. I think someone just got caught on the ball. They've done a few good plays and then you're 2-1 down. A lot of long balls. Adebayo's often out wide. Keeps getting caught out wide, and sometimes I just want to see him just stay in the box and be there for when the ball comes in. And I don't know if maybe it is desperation to score a goal, but as people keep saying, it does seem a bit disjointed. But yeah, I don't think too much is going to improve until there's a system change. I don't think it can go on like this. It is very long ball oriented. I don't think a lot of players looked comfortable enough on the ball. Certainly not Baptiste and Clark at the moment. Both are given a lot of wayward passes. Nakamba coming in could make a massive improvement.
Well, we saw that in the first half of the Carabao.
Exactly.
We looked tremendous with Nakamba. I think we had 60% of the ball. He was effective at the back. He was effective going forward. Do you think the system change that has to be put into place over these 2 weeks is going 3 in midfield? I must say I disagree with you regarding long balls. I find it's not so much long balls. It's passing between the defenders, and then there's a long ball when there's no other option. But the long ball football, or the direct style of football that we played under Nathan Jones, was actually highly effective.
Mm-hmm.
So if used properly, long ball football or direct football can be very good. I don't mind.
I agree.
That.
I liked I liked pre-season. Pre-season, despite the results, I thought some of it looked quite promising.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it looked like, every other goal kick, it was either play out from the back, drag the team in, and then play through the ranks and, try to set up a quick counter attack on a break. Or, as you say, if they come closer, then the long ball over the top. And when you've got, Adebayo 6'6", 6'7", or whatever he is, it makes sense to do that. For me, it's probably not going through the midfield enough, particularly in the first half. When you're playing at home, I would say probably not keeping the ball enough. I think you look at last season, you look at Burnley, Burnley got relegated. Leicester, Leeds and Southampton, particularly Southampton, a lot of late goals for the teams. A lot of things they've done well was grind teams down, heavy amounts of possession and work the ball well. I think, definitely giving away too many chances at the moment. It's not even big chances really. Look at the goal yesterday, Baptiste. It's mistakes. A few too many mistakes at the moment. When you look at the stats, it's not actually that bad. Our expected goals is quite high. I mean, statistically speaking, Adebayo's finishing, he is the worst in the Championship right now. I think he's expected something like 2.5 goals now, and he hasn't got one.
It's something that Dan's
change.
mentioned. It's something that Dan Ashby has mentioned previously, that the missed chances have been hurting us. Like, do you think it's just a case of having Morris and Adebayo clicking, and then the goals will rain in and we'll probably hammer someone?
I say history dictates that is what should happen. When you look at the Premier League last season, it's got to feel like that it's going to click at some point and goals going to start going in. Those two haven't become bad overnight, or it's not they can't play, in a championship or play together overnight. The goals will come. My worry is if things will get better because they can't get worse. My worry is looking at what teams have done recently in the championship, like when Burnley came up with their near points record or whatever. That was Vincent Kompany just dominating, dominate the game. Good pass and play, lots of possession, and then, kill him with a quick counter or kill him with a quick play. And literally what QPR did to us on Friday with that second goal. Quick bit of pass and ball in the box, bang, goal.
It's what
My
we
worry
used to do.
is I'm not seeing enough of that. If you look,
Yeah.
Adebayo's chance last night came up from a slip up of their centre back. For me, we're not creating enough through our own actual play. And I think if you want to challenge for top 6, you want to challenge for promotion, that needs to change. I agree goals will come and things will get better, but I'm not seeing enough there outside of the goals alone to say that we're going to finish in the top 6, so we're going to get promoted.
Wow. Okay.
Early, I know.
Yeah. No, look, everyone's entitled to an opinion. To be honest, based on what I've seen, I'm inclined to agree, but I feel this is always a transitional period. But the way we were speaking, like Rob Edwards, Gary Sweet, that we're here to challenge for the title, we're here to challenge for promotion. I always thought it was a bit optimistic, because this is in reality a transitional season. You want to make sure that it doesn't all go Pete Tong. In this first season back, it's been seen with a lot of clubs, like Sunderland, who obviously had gross financial mismanagement problems, but, it can all go wrong at the, click of a button, then bam, before you know it, you're in League One. Hopefully I don't think that's going to happen to us. I think we are going to sort of turn it around. Ben, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate. Really appreciate it. And please jump on any time in the future. We do these after every single match.
No problems. Cheers.
All right. Right. So I don't know if we got any other speakers. If we don't, I'll probably wrap this up. Half an hour is a good time. I think we had 4 speakers. It was, it was good. I think, having 24 hours between the match and this post-match phone-in really did help, in the sense that everyone's a bit calmer. I don't know if you guys saw my immediate match reaction, that was on our YouTube last night at 2 a.m. Obviously I was a bit upset, but now we have 2 weeks to work on things, and essentially everyone needs to pull together, inside the club, outside the club. And if you have enjoyed this and you're watching it on YouTube, please like this video. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Luton Town and Championship content. The channel's growing really fast. We'd love for all of you to come along and enjoy our content with us, because we just love making it. And a big shout out again to our audio partners, Black Star Amplification and Carry On, because they give us really cool stuff. All the people in the space, you can't see it, but I'm wearing a Black Star hat, and it's really cool. And also a big thank you to the record shop in Amersham. Wherever you are in England, head down to Amersham. It's a great place, lots of vinyl, lots of CDs, lots of guitars, and really friendly people. Mention that you've listened to the OK Football Show and you'll get a discount. And believe me, you will. I discussed it with them today. Right. Thank you all for tuning in, and let's try and enjoy international break. As always, come on you Hatters. We got this.